You know that feeling when your to-do list is overflowing and everything feels important? Like if you don't give 100% to all of it, something's going to fall apart?
You're listening to Overwhelmed Working Woman, the podcast that helps you be more calm and more productive by doing less. I'm your host, Michelle Gauthier, a former overwhelmed working woman and current life coach. On this show, we unpack the stress and pressure that today's working woman experiences. And in each episode, you'll get a strategy to bring more calm, ease, and relaxation to your life.
Hi, friend. Thanks for joining today. Today, we're going to be talking about a great way to eliminate daily overwhelm by embracing good enough or B minus work, as I like to call it. This is an approach that I take in my own life and something that I teach all of my clients and has helped all of us so much. So I want to share it with you today. If you're listening to this show, I imagine that you're probably an overachiever who likes to do your very best on everything all the time. Me too. But that's not realistic if you want to actually get a lot of things done. Sometimes you have to choose good enough over A plus. When you listen to this episode today, you'll learn why identifying what good enough or B minus work is powerful, even if you still choose to go above and beyond. How doing A plus work everywhere drains your time and your energy, and how prioritizing, like ruthlessly prioritizing where you want to put forth your best effort is the key to escaping this daily overwhelm that you're probably used to but don't love. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is defining the difference for things on your task list, the difference between if I do this to an A plus level and a B minus level, and thinking about what good enough would be for a task. And I'm not suggesting that you start doing B minus work everywhere, although you're welcome to give that a whirl and see how that works out for you. It could be great. But what I am saying is define what good enough even looks like. Even if you still go above and beyond, at least now it's a conscious choice and not just perfectionism running the show without you even thinking about it. Because when everything gets your A plus effort by default, you end up burned out or frustrated and resentful. But when you define good enough for some things and then do that and do A plus work for some things, you can feel good like you're in control and you're choosing where to put your energy. Because as you know, if you're exhausted by the end of the day, you know there's only so much energy that you have. So let's just think through some examples. What's the trade-off of doing A plus work compared to B minus work? I would say that doing A plus work often takes like twice the time, maybe even more than B minus work does, but it only delivers marginally better results, maybe 10% better if that. I'm making up these statistics, but I think to illustrate the point that I'm talking about, all of us have at one point or another written an email and done this A plus version where we do 4 different drafts and it's multiple paragraphs and we make sure our phrasing is perfect. And maybe even we ask our best coworker BFF to take a look at it before we sent it. And then the B minus version is just clear, concise, done in one try, let Outlook or whatever tell you when you spelled something wrong or grammatically done something incorrectly. And if you think about how much longer that first one took you, let's say that took an hour or 45 minutes versus the second one, 2-3 minutes at most, and how the receiver received that email. Personally, I always like a short email better than a long one, but does it make a huge difference to the receiver when you do A plus versus B minus work? So take a look at your to-do list and things that you have on your list and just ask yourself, what would it look like if I did B minus work on this particular thing? And am I open to that? Do I want to? Now, lots of times when I work with clients, the idea of B minus just gives them a small heart attack. So you could even start with A minus if you want to, or B plus work if you want to. Something I do every week is meal planning. A plus version would be a full menu with new recipes and, spending an hour every night cooking the meals, and everybody absolutely loves them. And I poll my whole family about what's everybody's favorite, whatever. And then the B minus version would be like, okay, we have 3 go-to meals that we do. We'll rotate those through. We'll have leftovers or order pizza the rest of the nights. Either way, everybody gets fed. And I don't know about your family. Now, I don't have a husband, So it's just myself and the kids, but they do not care. They do not care. When I spend a ton of time and effort to make food, they do not care. So why? Why would I go to that A plus version? I will say though, this is a good example, I think. If I have my girlfriends over for dinner, which I do maybe like once a quarter or something, I will have a few friends over for dinner. I absolutely love to go A plus on that. I love to find a new cocktail recipe. I love to make things that I know are different people's favorites. One of the things that I did last time I had my friends over is I made everybody a little individual flower arrangement in a small vase that was by their place setting. I make place cards. I love this. I go to full A plus because I get so much joy out of it. So when I know that I'm going to do that on a Friday night or a Saturday night, I think about it all week. I plan ahead for it, and I love giving A plus effort to that. I do not love giving A plus effort to meal planning for my family. I just want something like quick and healthy, like, hey, here's a protein and a carb, maybe some veggies. Here we go. Think about like a work report that you have to do every week. A plus version would be like a polished deck with charts and animations and so beautiful. And the B minus version might be a bulleted list with key points, and maybe you put it in a slide, or maybe it's just in an email. So the difference is one gets the job done and the other goes above and beyond getting the job done. But at what cost? And the last point I want to make, which ties into that, is you can't choose to give that A plus work to absolutely everything, or you will just lose your mind. So just in the examples that we just talked about, imagine if every email that you write, you do 4 drafts and have perfect phasing. Every time that you plan a meal for your family, it's got 3 new recipes and it takes you like an hour. Every time you do a simple report out at work, you're doing this full deck, etc. And you're taking so much time. If you do everything to that level, and you may be a person who's trying to do this now, it's just impossible. You're overwhelmed, you're exhausted, you can't get things done. And then it really starts to take a toll on you. So in order to be able to do A plus work on the things that really matter to you, like for me in my business, A plus work goes into seeing my clients, spending time with them, preparing for their sessions, being a great listener, learning new coaching things, following up with them, etc. B minus work, my social media. I definitely post stuff on social media, but it is not a huge priority. So you have to prioritize in your business, in your life with your kids, in everything. Where do I want to give the A plus work, and where can I do B plus? So my challenge for you is just to take a look at your to-do list for today and see what's on there. Take 2 minutes to glance at that list and say, what would the difference be between doing A plus and B minus work on this, and which one do I want to do? Maybe even write an A plus or a B minus or an A or a B plus or whatever you want to write next to the item so that you can gauge how much of your energy goes to that thing. Because good enough is powerful. Good enough gets it done. And when you stop trying to do everything perfectly, you'll have space to focus on stuff that matters most, like making special flower arrangements for your friends when they come over for dinner, or whatever it is that floats your boat. Okay, friends, if this episode felt like I was talking directly to you, I probably was. This is the exact kind of work I do with my one-on-one coaching clients, just figuring out what really matters, setting boundaries that actually stick, and learning to live without consistently feeling behind, which is the most amazing feeling. If you're ready to feel less overwhelmed and in charge of your life again, I've got the cure for you. Just send me a message or click in the link in the show notes to learn more. You'll be able to set up a consultation call where you can tell me all about what's going on with you. I can explain what it's like to do one-on-one coaching with me, and then we'll see if it's a good fit. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Overwhelmed Working Woman podcast. If you want to learn more about my work, head over to my website at michellegothier.com. See you next week.